So you really want to do something. It could be buying yourself something, having an evening out, or simply a long soak in the bath. Find something that is a real treat for you. At this point, you might want to get a pen and paper and write down some of the questions that we're going to ask. So coping with setbacks, a plan. Look at these questions. What have I learned? What skills will I take with me? What are the possible early signs of relapse that I need to be aware of? What do I need to do if I experience these? What are the possible high-risk situations for me in terms of setbacks? What do I need to do if I encounter these situations? What are my specific targets for the next 3 months? And how can I make these happen? Looking at major stresses. Major stresses in your life, such as the death of a relative or a friend, the breakup of a relationship, moving house, losing a job, and so on, are bound to affect your ability to cope with anxiety. Sometimes people think that they should be able to cope with everything, but in reality, when life is stressful, there are times when most people feel that they can't cope. If there are a lot of important changes happening in your life, it may be helpful to feel that you must be able to cope with all of them without showing any signs of distress. At times like these, it is important to take things easy, and you may need to share your usual responsibilities with those around you. Sometimes, when the initial stress is over, you may continue to feel more anxious than usual for some time. This is because your mind and body are still geared up to cope with the stress and need some time to wind down. This is a normal reaction. However, you need to be careful. You gradually get back to what you were doing and continue to make progress towards coping with your anxiety in the step-by-step way that has been described in this course. Fill in the gap. Often people who suffer from anxiety find that much of their time is taken up by worrying about things that they have to do or about the anxiety symptoms themselves. As you gradually feel better and no longer spend so much time worrying or avoiding the things that make you feel anxious, you might find that there is a gap left in your life which will be used to fill with anxiety. Now is the time when you feel more confident about your ability to control your anxiety to think about how you would like to fill that gap and use your newly found spare time more constructively. Now is a unique opportunity to do some of those things you've always wanted to do to improve your life in other ways. For example, you may wish to take up a sport, join an evening class or travel more. Try to think about what you would like to do to make the most of this chance to make your life more satisfying. Not only can this be challenging and rewarding, but it can be one of the best ways of making sure your anxiety does not get the better of you again. The ABCDE model for dealing with setbacks. A stands for adversity, the rotten or disappointing experience itself. For example, you have a major row with a child who is insulting, aggressive and hateful towards you. B stands for the beliefs automatically brought into play by the event. Children should be respectful and obedient towards their parents. I would never have dreamed of talking to my parents like that. If she insults me like that, there's no way she can love me. I'm a failure as a parent. C are the usual consequences of the belief. I feel deeply sad, drained and depressed. I can't summon up any energy to do anything to improve the relationship with my child. I don't have any resources to move forward. We end up not talking except in monosyllables. D is the way out. It is your dispute of routine relief. E is the energy that is released if you dispute successfully. What to do when you want to give up? Take a break. One reason we get down on ourselves is fatigue. When you're tired, everything is harder. Working your tail off for extended periods will weigh you down if you're not careful. Fatigue and boredom combine to cause burnout. One of the biggest reasons people quit when faced with burnout, the best thing to do is take a break. Do absolutely nothing for a short while. What's the worst that could happen? By allowing yourself to recover, you'll be more productive in the long run. Step 2. Step back. Sometimes we get so absorbed in our own sphere that we develop a distorted picture of reality. When you feel like giving up, there's a good chance that A, things aren't nearly as bad as they seem, and B, there's a simple solution that you're overlooking. When things seem bleak, distance yourself from the situation to gain an accurate perspective. What would someone without any emotional involvement do? Asking this question will help you make optimal decisions. 3. Do your research. The only constant in the universe is change. But when you're plugging away with your head down, it's easy not to notice. People often make decisions based on outdated assumptions made months or even years earlier. To develop a course of action, you'll need to know where you stand. Stop to evaluate your position. What do you have? What do you want? What opportunities still exist? What new opportunities have arisen? 4. Re-evaluate your strategy. Once you're well informed, apply that knowledge to revamping your strategy. If you feel like giving up, you might be doing something wrong. This is the time to pore over your efforts and determine what works. What actions have led to the greatest benefit? What mistakes have been made? What can be improved? Maybe you didn't know what you were getting into. Maybe your priorities have changed. If you know deep down that changing is the right move, do it. 5. Push through the dip. In some cases, you might feel like giving up, even though you're doing all the right things. This is called the dip. Knowing what to do when you hit the dip is so important. If you've hit the dip, lower your shoulder and plough ahead until you reach the other side. It might not be pleasant, but the rewards are tremendous. 6. Change course. Knowing what's wrong and how you can fix it is a relief. Unlike an invisible monster hovering over you, an exposed problem can be directly assaulted. Once you've determined a change needs to be made, implement it. Again, smart goals. Your toolbox. There will always be times when no matter how things are going, you just feel depressed. The chances are you will feel guilty for feeling this way when others around you have real problems and are coping. This is where your toolbox comes in. In advance, collect together things that you enjoy or remind you of happy times. These could be a CD of your favourite music, photographs, a bar of chocolate, a copy of a text from a loved one. It doesn't matter what they are as long as they have a positive meaning for you. Think about where you will keep your toolbox. Where will it be most effective? It may be helpful to have a travel size variation and a full size version at home. When you're in that dark place, get out your toolbox and spend as much time as you can enjoying it. It may be that you enjoy it with your family, your children. may not just be exclusive yours. It may be exclusively yours. Decide that at the start. Further help. It is natural to feel anxious as the Coping with Anxiety course comes to an end. You may feel you need further help, but it is important at first to give yourself the opportunity to see how you can independently put to use what you have learned during the course. After an initial period of missing the support of regular sessions, you may surprise yourself by coping much better than you expected. Don't forget that negative thoughts may also be colouring your view of your ability to continue coping on your own. You can always repeat this course, use it a few times, go through it again, reaffirm those things that you have learned.